This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Jeff Donabedian. He is a new member of the Moorpark School Board. Quite an election, sir.
It was, yes.
There were 3 seats up. There were 5 candidates,
Right.
3 incumbents, 2 challengers.
Yes.
You were a challenger.
Yep.
What happened?
Well, I think that the other challenger that won and I just got involved in the community and started listening and talking and being engaged, and I think that was something that the people were looking for and
Apparently
wanting.
so.
Right.
I mean,
right.
think about it. It's not easy to take out an incumbent.
No.
And you only had 2 challengers coming.
Right.
You and your co-challenger, we'll call him, came in first and second.
Right.
And then the president came in third. 2 longtime incumbents lost.
Right. Right.
So what was it in your mind that caused a community like Moorpark to say, you know what, we want to turn a corner. There's something amiss here. We want new leadership.
Sure. I think for what I got out of it and when we started was that I think people felt like there was a level of complacency that had taken place. And it's not that the former board members, they really did do a lot of great things in our district, and they did serve in a very distinguished manner. And they brought us a lot of great programs that we're seeing really great things with our kids and our staff members. But I think that over the last few years, when we look at what happened with our budget and the fact that we got a going concern, which means you may not make it to almost.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because that is very significant. I remember a few years ago during the downturn, there were several districts up and down the state that were put on notice by the county superintendent or even the state that they did not have adequate reserves to meet state standards. And out of nowhere, Moorpark got a notice last year that the reserves were not adequate. And what I understand is that was particularly frustrating because right before that notice, what had happened?
Well, in December they had approved some raises and bonuses. Yeah, I know, and it's not. And I want to be clear. That's not what caused that change. That we were already. The previous fiscal year, we had already hit that level of lower reserves. Right. So that's not exactly what caused it. I know some people think that.
But I hear you. But it does speak to the notion that sometimes, you know, I don't know the former members, but one can go on autopilot. And the other thing is, look, you're not a full-time school board member, so you have to rely on staffers.
Sure.
And so these types of things can happen. But look, did some good come out of this in terms of the question of budgetary financing?
I think it has. I really think that we're getting to a point where it's okay to start talking about it openly. It's okay to start talking about some of our challenges that we're going to face, that we face now, that we're going to face in the future. I've been doing some school visits, and even some of the principals I've talked to have said, you know, it's been great because they're now more involved in their own budget. They're paying attention. They're asking questions and stuff like that. So I think that there's that opportunity of being better is there now.
But let me ask you, and I want to broaden it out if I can.
Sure.
I mean, as you know, a few years ago, the voters passed Proposition 30, which provided an increase in the sales tax and an increase on the wealthy. Well, in November, the tax on the wealthiest was extended. The sales tax was not. And there are concerns that the elimination of that sales tax could hit the state budget.
Sure.
And therefore hit K-12 budgets. And so, you know, you're a new member, so forgive me, but, you know, what do y'all do to make sure that you guys are fiscally sound in the wake of that missing revenue?
Well, and that's, we just saw the state preliminary budget, and it's a little bit of, there's a good and bad news. You know, we're up on the priority list, but they're looking at right now about $500 million shorter than they wanted to. And I think that, you know, the Prop 55 that's coming in doesn't really hit till next year, or no, 18, 19. So we're gonna have to figure it out. I think for me, I want to be engaged with our local state representatives and really try to champion them prioritizing us in the budget. I think for us though, as a local district, our job is now to do a better assessment of where we really stand right now. We reduced certain things in our budget last year to try to make ends meet, and now we still have a lot of those same revenue challenges. And some of our expenditures are still going to be increasing. So we have to do a better job of assessing it so we know where we're at, and then I'm hoping that by the next school year and fiscal year we'll be able to plan better.
What I think is interesting about your school board, so there are 5 members.
Yes.
3 of you were firefighters?
Yes, we are.
Could you explain that to me, sir?
I don't know either. That's a really good one. It's interesting. One of the members has been on for about 8 years.
Right.
And
so he's someone that was not up for re-election.
Right.
And so he's still there.
Right.
And his name is?
Nathan Sweet. He works for Los Angeles City.
Okay, so he's a firefighter in LA City.
Yes.
Okay, then there's you,
yes.
Chef Donabedian.
Right.
You work for?
City of Oxnard.
As a firefighter.
Yes.
And then Scott
DeTore, and he works for Ventura County Firefighter.
So you're not even in the same company, the same department. You're all firefighters. Right. I mean, there's something there. There's something there that 3 out of 5 of you are firefighters. Talk me through it, or am I just,
I don't know that. I don't think that Scott and I didn't make a big deal about that when we were running. We didn't want to run, just as the firefighter thing. That's my hometown. I was born and raised there. I live a few houses down from my kids' elementary school. Right. I see a place to help, and I think that's what it is. I think people understand that as firefighters, we're there to help. We want to help. We want to be part of that solution. I think that resonates.
Yeah, and I think you've said that because look, police officers you'll often see will run for office. You're public service. Right. That's what you do every single day. You're serving us.
Exactly.
And so it's not surprising that you have firefighters running for office. Right. It's just unique that 3 out of 5 of you are firefighters on this same school board.
Right.
In Moorpark, which I mean, is there a lot of firefighters living in Moorpark?
I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of public safety people that live in Oxnard. I know growing up there, it seemed like everyone was either a police or firefighter for the most part.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your father was a firefighter.
My father was a firefighter.
You have how many brothers?
2 brothers are firefighters.
Both are firefighters?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I want to get a sense also about the makeup of the board in terms of whether y'all have kids in school.
Sure.
Because that's also unique. Sometimes you'll see a lot of school board members, they may not even have kids in school, and I'm sure they do a great job.
Sure.
But that's another unique element of your school board.
So right now with the new board, we have 3 of us that have kids in the district right now, and they're spread out all the way from high school all the way down to elementary. My youngest daughter's 4, so she'll even be hitting kindergarten soon.
And you have one on the way.
And one on the way.
But you have an older one in the district.
Right, we have a second grader, and so I think that is a great perspective that we are parents as well, and even I'm doing my first school site visits, and it's been really amazing. I don't know what's more impressed, the dad or the school board member side of me, because when you watch what happens after we drop our kids off, it's really an amazing thing. And
it's really a leap of faith.
It is, and I tell you, seeing what these kids are learning today, and what they're watching 4th and 5th graders and how they're tackling certain math equations and things like that, I think our future is going to be in great hands.
So you're just in the beginning
Sure.
of this journey, but do you have certain goals you'd like to meet as you enter this 4-year term that could extend for God knows how long?
How long? That's a great
question.
As of right now, I'm trying to focus on just this term, and we'll see what 4 years brings. So for me, what I really would like to focus on is what I heard from the community. And people are not upset with their principals. People were not upset with their school sites. People were really frustrated by some of the decisions and lack of information at the district office level. So I think from my background, that's where I think I see my strength at.
I see.
So I'm hoping to work with our board and have a majority of them. Let's get this information out. Let's be better. Let's be more transparent. What doesn't mean that we're going to be without challenges. It doesn't mean we're going to be perfect, but we have to have that openness, and we have to be willing to talk about what challenges we're going to face and how we're going to address them. We need to have communication with people.
You did it.
And
you won.
We'll see.
His name is Chef Donabedian. He is a trustee with the Moorpark Unified School Board. My name is Brad Pomerance. We thank you so much for joining us on Local Edition.